So welcome guys. This is going to be our first week here of a 4-week series, and we are targeting this as back to the basics. And these are particularly great Zooms because I feel like they're getting back to the foundations of what we need to be looking at. And that is simplifying things. And I really believe that this information will be helpful for you all every week. It'll be different topics. And I want you guys to actually use the chat box, and we will be doing a giveaway here at the end of our Zoom. So you better make sure you're writing in there. So any tips you have that you can share with us as we are going that you have maybe found as a meal prepping idea or suggestion, put it in the comments. And then at the end, we will be doing a giveaway for a box of the meal bars. Okay, so again, comment in the chat, guys, as we're going here, any meal tips you have. And if you don't know what these bars are, guys, we're talking about meal prep. You want to talk about the easiest meal ever. Having meal bars are amazing. And these are a great option for that as a balanced, low glycemic, quick grab and go type meal option. So, all right, guys, well, let's go ahead and get started. So thank you for joining us, guys. And since you guys are here on week 1, I also want to mention that there will be some extra incentives for you guys. If you do make it to all 4 weeks, we're going to be giving you a big prize at the end of the 4 weeks. So just as a heads up, and every time you invite a friend, you're also going to get a $5 gift certificate to be used. So invite people, guys. That's why we do these every week. And we are usually doing different topics that we just kind of each week do different, but this is a series. So 4 weeks focusing on back to the basics. So this week, guys, is meal prep. So we're going to start out here right away with the number one successful tool that they have found to helping with long-term planning is making a plan. So coming up with, guys, for meal planning, having a great little just simplified sheet checklist, something you can find these all over Pinterest, all over the internet. I'm happy to send you this PDF if you don't have one, but writing down what you're going to be eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and coming up with a shopping list. And I cannot tell you, if you are a person that says you are too busy, I cannot tell you enough how this will simplify your life. You will think that this is impossible, but the more you practice it, I'm telling you, it'll save you time and it will help you be that much more proactive in your choices you make every single day. So I'm a huge fan of starting out with making a plan. So we also want to just, as we're starting to think about how we make that plan, and again, guys, make sure you're putting in the comments here, any ideas you're thinking of as we're going here. But as we're making our plan, one thing that we want to avoid is getting bored. We don't want to be eating the same things every single day. And I had to find that probably we've been doing a lot of talk about this in one of our challenge groups right now. For many of us who just finished the cleanse, we really focused on vegetables. And I feel like that needs to be more of a focus for all of us in how we are planning our meals. So I encourage you and challenge you to think about how can you incorporate more vegetables into every single meal. And here's some quick suggestions and ideas, just talking about how you can multitask by using foods and putting them into other things. So for example, let's say you chop up a bunch of vegetables, use those vegetables throughout the week for different meals. So one night you put them in a spaghetti sauce, next night you use them for stir fry. What you have left, you roast the vegetables and have it with chicken, for example. So there are ways. Now, most of the time when we look at our animal and our plant proteins, they're only going to be good 3 to 4 days. So we have to kind of correlate that into our meal plan. So if we can kind of figure out how we're going to use those things up in 3 to 4 days, that's perfect. So, a lot of us rely on frozen options too, which that's okay. And there are healthier frozen options, even something simple like tater tots that you can actually now find cauliflower tots, that there's different names for them. But it's an alternative and it's something to get you thinking in a healthier direction. That's a great side. And when we also talk about bulk items, I want to mention that kale salad really fast, that I am not actually a huge kale fan, but I have found that making it in advance and massaging like olive oil and lemon into it and letting it sit, it actually does better a couple days later. So there are tips of things that you can just, try different things and different options. So, and guys, sauces. This has been something else I've been finding and really asking people lately, like, what are your favorite foods and getting more information for them. And it seems like people tend to eat more good foods, obviously when they taste good, and sauces is a big part of that. So get creative with different sauces and come up with maybe some new dressing recipes. You guys that are big soy sauce fans, I see Jody just commented on here a second ago. Uh, Soy sauce, she had asked me about this. A great alternative for soy sauce is coconut aminos, and it doesn't have as high of sodium and it doesn't have that processing factor that really soy sauce is going to be pretty much not any nutritional value. So coconut aminos is a great alternative for soy sauce. So just to kind of mention that to you here real quick. And then even things like, making your own sauces, like making your own cheese sauce, for example, that is an excellent way and an excellent strategy to make sure that you know exactly what is going into that specific food that you're making. So let's look at here, guys. What do we not want to include in our meal plans? And some of you are going to be like, yeah, these are obvious, but not always. You've got to start reading your labels. Again, sounds simple, but I am telling you, it is amazing how many things are hidden in your foods. So really watch those things that are very common to causing more inflammation in your body. And this is where we, with the cleanse, start to really focus on replacing processed foods with real foods. And as we start to bring foods back in, we start to realize all the things that are added to our foods without realizing it, just by, again, being more conscious of your labels. And even simplify things, guys. Like, for example, if you're going to buy kidney beans, for example, we do a lot of canned beans actually. Make sure that they're organic, because that's probably going to mean that they're going to have less sodium. And it will also mean that it doesn't have preservatives inside the metal or the can. So simple things, guys. That's a very simple trick that we can, again, just start to look at, reading those labels more. So also meal prepping, guys, we're talking about vegetables. So even getting in different colors. And this is something that people have talked about for many years, eating the rainbow every day. Go for color, guys. How can you mix it up? That is how you're going to be trying to give your body the best nutrients, is by creating a variety. So a great way, guys, to mix up things is even coming up with different storage containers. I wanted to just kind of walk through, maybe when you're meal prepping, how do you store your foods? We're also going to be having Sarah sharing some tips here in a minute too. And I know she's a big fan of mason jar salad. So I thought this was a great picture of one that kind of highlights how you can put foods together into a bowl or a jar. You layer it, dressing goes on the bottom so the rest of the ingredients don't get soggy. But look at all the fresh ingredients in there in different colors, and when we are storing things, clear containers are going to by far be the best option, because you can see what's in there and you don't have to worry about remembering what foods that you had stored in the refrigerator. So see through. Now we want to steer away from plastic. So I am actually really trying to get away from plastic in our household, and we do mostly glass jars. But even look at, guys, variety of options for something like a mason jar beyond food prep. These are just great for, throwing in. You can buy different size mason jars, throwing in spices, using it for other food preps. Like, for example, if you're going somewhere, we take our Life Shake, our protein powder, and you could put that in the bottom. And then when you get there, add the liquid when you're ready, shake it up, good to go. So even when you're traveling, it is a great option. And storage, obviously, for mason jars. So these are a great inexpensive way to look at planning your meals a little differently. So I thought I would show you guys that this is one that I've been hearing great reviews about, of a popular storage container. And these are on Amazon. I'm sure you can find them other places. I thought I would show you ours here. And this is, I can't actually see myself on my screen, guys, so hopefully you can see this. These came from Costco, and it's a very similar concept if it has the flip lid on here. And in here, I actually bulk made chicken. So we bought whole chickens. We put this in the Instapot, and we had enough for last night's meal. Then we made like an Indian chicken, and then we will save this and do pesto chicken for another night. So again, it's convenient, it's easy, it's ready to go. And you're going to be that much more successful when you have things already in the refrigerator that you can grab and have as an option. So all right, let's look at here, guys, putting your meals together. And if you can see this pretty picture here, don't forget, guys, start commenting. You have ideas as we're going here to win your meal bars. Let's get some suggestions out there. But you can see how these meals are paired, guys. This is actually an example of breakfast, lunch, and dinner with your snacks in the middle. But I want to highlight some things here. The first thing is like in that first meal there, you're going to see that's an overnight oats. And this is actually a picture I had used, and I know what's in here, so I can say this. It came from one of our friends, but that has protein powder in there. It has oatmeal, it has some almonds, and has raisins and cinnamon. And it's a very well balanced meal. Why? Because we have a protein, we have a carb, we have a fiber, and that is what's going to help to sustain our blood sugar levels. Okay, so then we look at our snack. We have a banana with some hard boiled eggs. Perfect balance. Again, we want to try to pair our foods, guys. Look at that next one there. You have some beans, you have some chicken, you have some vegetables. See the greens in there. Then we have a homemade trail mix. And I encourage you guys to make up things like that in bulk. So we also do boiled eggs in our Instapot. I'm a big fan of that. They are so much easier to make in there for me anyways, I found, and they peel so much easier. But I make a whole bunch of them. And that's actually Mason, our oldest, that's the first thing he'll grab is if there's boiled eggs in there. So having things that are right up front and you can see. And trail mix also. You can save so much money by making your own trail mix. And again, stick with the concept of simple. Read your ingredients, that what you're putting together is not roasted, salted, covered in sugar, that it's simple ingredients like raw almonds, some raisins to counteract that protein with a healthy carb and making it a sustainable energy. And if you see those bags, they're not filled up to the top. It's just enough to help as a snack between meals. And then you can see they're a great option. They're planned for different dinner options. So again, sometimes visuals are helpful for people to be able to see, a big picture of what days would look like as planned out. So John just commented in, yes, we do slow cooker chicken type options a lot too. And we even do throw in the chicken and then put in a jar of salsa. And that's a great one for, yes, tacos or, enchiladas or other options too. So great tips. All right, so we mentioned, guys, every week we're going to give you some new recipes. And to keep this kind of fun, we want to just give you things that maybe you wouldn't think about. But I absolutely love, this is a quote I share a lot. At the top right, it says, every time you eat or drink, you are either feeding disease or fighting it. That is a powerful statement. And it is something to remind yourself of when you are making choices. And it really can become a mindset that if you keep reminding yourself of that, you will start to make better choices. And this is a process, guys. And that's why we're trying to get you back to thinking about basics. And one of the basics is getting back to real foods. And that means even something as simple as protein. That protein is so heavily processed now. And we all know about, antibiotics and hormones and all of those things. And even if you're getting organic, sometimes protein that's coming from meat is much harder for our bodies to break down. And that's why we are a big fan of something like soy protein. We use a whole lot of, life shakes or soy protein. But this is just a quick little example of, this is a complete amino acid option. It has everything you need to make this a low glycemic effect in your body. And it's an excellent tasting one because it's sweet. So it's even great for kids. Somebody just asked if sun butter works for this too. Yes, it does. For sure. You can use sun butter. We've made it with that before too when the kids couldn't bring nuts to the school. So yep, you can definitely use different butter options for this. And again, it's so simple, guys. You don't cook it. You just mix this together, put it in a pan and cut it into bars. So, we don't have to spend hours in meal prep either. And that's also something I just wanted to highlight. So I mentioned, like I said, we're going to give recipes every week, guys. And since we're kind of talking about protein this week with the meal bars and the last recipe, these are just some other great options for suggestions. Protein balls are something that we actually make up, throw in the freezer, and we can just grab them out at any time. We actually lay them out on a cookie sheet, but we do have a problem because our 3-year-old sneaks them out of there all the time. So he eats sometimes the whole pan before we knew that he knew where they were at. So these can be a perfect option to throw into a baggie, grab when you're going out the door, and have it with you, even like post-workout. It's a great combination of, if you look at what's in there, it has your healthy fiber, it's got the great oats in there, it has your good protein, it has healthy fats with the chia seeds. And again, when you're eyeballing your meals, this is the stuff we want to be seeing: protein, carb, fat. No foods are bad. It's all in moderation that we want to be focusing on. Look at that mango green smoothie bowl. Smoothie bowls are a really popular thing right now. And they're kind of fun because it gives you an option, if you don't always want to drink something, that you could mix this all up and actually eat it. So this is, again, just a fun combination. Feel free to screenshot these guys. And then if you can't read it very well, feel free to let me know and I can send it to you where it's a little bit bigger print there. But again, look at that smoothie bowl. The hemp seeds are giving you the healthy fat and the healthy omegas. You got a variety of fruits in there, but it's counterbalanced with the spinach, so it's not going to spike the blood sugar. And then again, it has unsweetened almond milk and it has your protein in there to help make it a balanced meal. All right, so one thing I'm just going to finish up here before I turn it over to Sarah is just to kind of get you guys thinking about when we're planning our meals, that balance effect. And I feel like that's a word that is going to keep coming up throughout these 4 weeks is balance. And that can mean from our food choices, making sure that we are getting a variety of foods because we need all the different vitamins and minerals. So take a look at this screen, guys. And if you can't read this very well, I'm just going to kind of summarize it for you. But look at the nutritional deficiencies and associated conditions and diseases. So things like blood sugar imbalances, calcium deficiencies, fatty acids, digestive disorders, and all of the things that fall under these categories. Now, why is that? That is because nutritional deficiencies are so common and they are not talked about enough. And that comes from several factors. One, our food is highly processed. Two, our food doesn't have the same nutritional value as it did years ago. And this is why adding the variety of foods, adding the right supplements, and filling in the gaps becomes crucial. Because when we start to notice these symptoms, this isn't just for fun or you can blame it on old age. It's generally because something is starting to not work. And it is your first signal that something bigger could be coming if we don't start to take care of those symptoms first. So how do we fill in our gaps here? I always mention ideas and suggestions because I'm a big fan. And personally, I know myself, husband, so many of you guys on here too, we have taken Vitalizer for, probably well over a decade now. And I love this graphic because this shows, guys, that if you're not eating all of these things in a day, look at the deficiencies in the last slide that can start to arise in our body. And I don't know about you guys, but many of these things, there is no way personally that I could eat. And by no means would I ever want to eat sardines, for example. So some of these foods, we're just not going to eat. So having supplement options are going to be key. So Vitalizer or reach out for the assessment link, guys. I'm a big fan of the Numeology to get customized nutrition to figure out exactly, according to your diet, health history, genetics, what would be good to fill in your gaps. So last thing I'm going to end with here before Sarah comes in here, but food, guys, great tips. Think about what you're buying, create that plan. Cook it with care. Do different options for cooking. Mix it up. Try roasting, try baking, try Instapots, try, crock pots, different ideas. I know a lot of people are big fans of even air fryers right now. So maybe in a comment, guys, if you have like maybe a favorite piece of equipment that you use, why don't you share that? Because we don't want to have 50 different options, but finding one or two favorite things can really be helpful for you in your prep time. Buy local, guys. Let's try to use less meat and wheat, things that are causing more inflammation in our body along with sugar. Try to feed yourself just what you need. What is left over, use for something else like we talked about and gave different ideas for. All right, Sarah, if you don't mind, I am going to go ahead and have you unmute yourself here. And Sarah is a wealth of knowledge, and I'm excited she's taken the time to share with us here a minute. So I'll let her introduce herself. And Sarah, if you don't mind here, go ahead and take it over.
All right, can you guys see me? Because I also can't see myself.
I can't see you either, but my screen doesn't allow me to. Okay, I found you. Yes, you're good, Sarah.
Okay. So yeah, hi everybody. Amanda just asked me to share a little bit about meal prepping and how I do it with my family. I am not perfect at it by any means, and maybe she asked me to share because it's one area that I was really bad at. The organization behind it was always a struggle for me. So I work outside the home. I'm a nurse, and which means some long hours and some longer days. And with 3 little kids who eat a lot and just busy schedules, I really kind of had to hone in on meal prepping. So over the last couple of years, I've been working on it, and I kind of thought of 3 main things that help me. The first one is a meal prep day. Number 2 is big batches, and 3 is storage. And I know Amanda mentioned a few of these already, so I won't go into too much detail. But for me, I always stress you need to have a meal prep day. For me, that's usually Sundays, depending on our schedule. But there has to be a day where I make big batches of stuff, plan out my meals, like she said. I don't get nitty gritty and use a chart and make a fun planner of my grocery list. That's just not me. But I go through each day, what the meal is going to be, and I make as much as I can on that Sunday. I do huge batches of chicken, like John had suggested. I put like 10 chicken breasts in the crock pot, and then I shred it up, and then I store it separately. So, like Amanda said, one day I might make chicken tacos. We do barbecue chicken sandwiches a lot, pesto chicken sandwiches. You just have that chicken ready to put on salads. So I store it and I freeze it and put some in the refrigerator and use it. I do the same thing with beef if we're doing beef. Pork, I just make the big stuff always on Sundays. And I always do big batches of vegetables as well. I always roast 1 or 2 huge pans of vegetables. I find if I roast them, they store and last a little bit longer. So always stress having a day where you can prep, get your days in line and go from there. I put that on a chalkboard. Silly little tip, but if you have kids in your family, it worked wonders for my kids and my husband. No one argues. I put on there what's for the meal, and I'm like, that's what's for dinner. We're not scrambling to figure out what's for dinner, and if they don't like it, too bad. So the chalkboard worked really well for me. Big batches is number 2, whether that's making the stuff on Sundays, the meats, the proteins, the vegetables, power balls like Amanda shared. I make power balls at least every week and a half or 2, and I like triple the batch. They freeze really well. I just put them in Ziploc bags. They're a great snack for the kids. But I just double and make a lot of whatever I can so it's ready to go. She mentioned storage. I am a huge fan of salads in a jar. When we could, I had people over and we did parties and made them, but I feel like they just last a lot longer when they're packed tightly. I've tried, glass rectangle containers, and sometimes they just don't store as well. So putting them in those jars is kind of fun. I leave my dressing out. I like to add that separate, but I've also done it with meals, like put pasta on the bottom or quinoa or brown rice, and then I put veggies, a little bit of, protein on top. And when you flip it over, you can have meals like that too. So it's not just salads. But I agree, storage wise, bag things up. We make the power balls, we make trail mix. I have as much stuff bagged up and in those containers as possible. And what else did she mention? I don't want to double dip too much. Sneaking healthy things in. That's another thing I kind of think of throughout the week. I add the protein powder to a lot of stuff that we eat: smoothies, oatmeal, power balls. I make granola and I'll put it in there. Just sneaking healthy things in, especially with little kids, has been really helpful for us. And the hard-boiled eggs, that was on my list too. That's been a new favorite over the past 6 or 9 months. I got an Instapot. So yeah, we make huge batches of hard-boiled eggs, but just having healthy options available, you'd be amazed. I'm a big advocate that, what you put out, your kids will eat. If I don't offer it, they're not, they don't fight about it. So if I put stuff out after school that's healthy, they're going to eat it if they're hungry. That's kind of been a big kind of overall theme for us, is just providing them with the options, and they'll eat it. If they're hungry, they will eat it. So meal prep day, big batches, play with how you store it, and just have things ready. I would say those are my biggest tips for busy families and people looking to start simple, because I'm not a planner person with the list and going to Meijer and all of that. Just to start simple.
Perfect. Thanks, Sarah. And she is a perfect one to talk about this, because Sarah is very much so into health, even though she thinks she's not organized. As a nurse and working full time in her schedule, somehow she still always manages to stay healthy and on top of it. So thanks for sharing, Sarah. That was great. And I will add one last tip to that, which she was saying about freezing things. That's also a good reminder, is when you guys do notice maybe you overcook something. Seriously, guys, throw it in the freezer. I'm not even kidding when I say avocados, things are going to go bad. You made too much broccoli. You can throw it in your smoothies. Honestly, you can throw anything in there. So we put in cauliflowered rice is actually one of our favorite ingredients there right now. It makes it really creamy. So when you have extra things, you're not sure what to do with it, honestly, put it in the freezer and save it for your smoothies. So another quick tip. What's that?
I said, and greens too, because a lot of people, the spinach, the kale, like that stuff tends to get gross. So you can freeze that as well, and it's fine in smoothies and stuff like that.
Yeah. For sure. I even just had somebody share the other day. I thought it was a great tip that when even lemons start to go bad, she actually keeps the peel on them, puts them in slices, and puts
Oh,
them in bags and throws those in her smoothies. I was like, that's a great idea. So we can all learn from each other, guys. So any last tips you have, throw them in the comments here, guys, and we will do our drawing here in just a second for our meal bars. Just want to again remind you guys, this is 4 weeks. So please, if you have some suggestions, things that you're really struggling with, these are for you. Okay. We're really trying to get back to getting us in the mindset of how we can simplify things. And again, meal planning, I think this is just one step in our big picture of how we can look at health, but we also want to tie in some other areas. So we're going to be talking about sleep and hydration and exercise. And each week, guys, given a different giveaway option. So again, please invite. And again, attend all 4 and we'll have a bigger gift. So, all right. So Sarah, I'm going to have you pick a number between 1 and I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, 4, between 1 and 4.